Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Microsoft Teams Virtual Summit on collab365.community, sponsored by Microjobs. Thank you so much for coming to our session today, which is a demo of Microsoft Teams and the power of bringing people together. I am Matthew J. Bailey, and I have my lovely guest here, my best friend and a book co-author, Melissa Hubbard.
Hey, Matthew.
Hi.
So glad to be here today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Let me go ahead and quickly introduce myself and then turn it over to Matthew for his introduction, and we'll get started here. So I am, again, Melissa Hubbard, and I am a project manager with a company called Witham Digital out of the Washington, D.C. area. We focus on Microsoft technology and helping people work smarter and faster. I have a Microsoft MVP award in Flow, which is a business process automation tool. And I've been really working a lot with Microsoft Teams and really getting into it. I would consider myself an enthusiast. I like talking about user adoption and governance and training. I am a toddler and cat mom. They're both asleep right now while we do this demo of Teams for you. Let me turn it over to Matthew.
Thanks, Melissa. And a little bit about me. I am a Microsoft Teams subject matter expert, but I come from being a SharePoint all-rounder. I am an independent consultant, a Microsoft certified trainer, a Microsoft MVP, and a book author. I've had different jobs, including administration, development, testing, training, and project management around the Microsoft stack for over 12 years total, but I've worked with Teams for 2, and I've worked with Office 365, Azure, and Power BI for a little bit as well.
All right. So in case you're new to Microsoft Teams, we want to talk a little bit about what it is before we get started on our live demo. So Microsoft Teams is it's for the modern workplace. It's a place where you can do your file collaboration, your chat, and hold your meetings all in one place. Microsoft Teams connects with a lot of different services, not just Office 365. It connects with different third-party services like Jira, MailChimp, a lot of different services it can connect with to get your work done all in one application. So some people even call it the one app to rule them all, because you can open up your one app and you can get all of your work done and work with your teammates and achieve a goal. So Matthew and I speak at a lot of different conferences, and we're out in the community, and people talk to us a lot about Microsoft Teams because they know we love it so much. And so one thing people ask is, what's this hype about? How can I really work and get things done with my teammates? Maybe I have a certain department in my organization I'm thinking about using it with, or I have this project. And another scenario is nonprofit organizations, especially in Washington, D.C. We need a lot of people who are doing good things and are running nonprofits. And so our live demo today is going to be how Matthew and I use Teams to start ground zero with a new nonprofit that helps save baby seals that are trapped in garbage patches, and bring it to a fully running project where we are getting things done and working together.
And since today's demo is about all the challenges of running a fundraiser for a nonprofit, and as you know, with most nonprofits, there are a bunch of different people involved with a bunch of different tasks on a very low budget, and there's all sorts of things happening with task management, meetings, having conversations, discussion points, goals that have to be met on short timelines. Microsoft Teams is the perfect tool to do this all in. The only problem is, because we're doing a webinar for the Microsoft Teams Virtual Summit, is that we have less than 1 hour to get everything done.
Well, that's very aspirational, Matthew. I guess we should go ahead and get started on our demo, right?
I think we should.
Okay, so I am going to now switch over to the Microsoft Teams application on my laptop. So there is a desktop application, And there is a mobile app, and you can also use it in your browser, just so you know. The first component I'll talk about is chat, because there's a lot of different things you can do with Teams. You can see here in the left navigation, this shows you some of the different components. I just got a chat message, and it is from my good friend Matthew, and he says, "Don't worry, I know we can do it all in this 1 hour." Of course we can. Okay, so some of you may have heard, but Teams will be replacing Skype for Business Online. So the chat with Teams I really like because, in Skype, if you're having a talk and maybe you decide something important and then you close your chat window and it's gone and it's not the easiest to get back that message. With Teams, it does not go away. You can do group chats. You can do individual chats. If you share files with each other, you can even see them up here, which is really cool. Those are actually being saved in OneDrive underneath the surface. So also when you are in Teams, you've got your meetings section. And so this is also a lot like Outlook where you can schedule your meetings. You can even schedule a Teams meeting from Outlook. Kind of like when you go to schedule a Skype meeting, you click the little button that says Skype. There's a Teams button if your organization has enabled it. We'll schedule a meeting probably for our team in a minute. So there's calling, and there is a special calling plan if you want to dial out, like dial a phone number, but you can do voice and video calling with with people in your organization. Just you can't dial out unless you have a special calling plan. But you can see here there's voicemail and everything if you have that. So also here shows all of the files you've been working on. So that's a really nice way to stay organized. And then the main collaboration piece that we're going to talk about is the Teams collaboration. But it is just important to know that you can be using the Teams app without even creating Teams because you could be chatting and holding meetings. So the first thing I need to do is I need to create a team for our SEAL Rescue Squad nonprofit. So when I'm creating a team, I can create it from a team that already exists and use that as the template, or I can create from an Office 365 group. So if I have an Office 365 group that already had the same members that I wanted to add in my team, I could use that as a starting point, but I'm going to build from scratch. There's 3 different types of teams: private, public, and organization-wide. Private, people will need to be granted permissions to join. Public, anyone can join. And organization-wide, if your organization is 5,000 people or less, if you create one of these teams, everybody in your organization gets invited. I'm going to make this a private team. I'm going to call it SEAL Rescue Squad. And it is best practice to give a description about what the team is. I'm not going to do that because we only have an hour. Nice work. I created my team. Yes, Matthew, we see your seal in the corner over there. Okay, so now I need to add members to my team. So I guess I'll add this guy, Matthew Bailey. And Chris Carehart, and Patty Protector. So another thing is it's best practice to have another team owner. So I'm going to make Matthew a team owner. And that gives you access to different settings than other team members. You automatically are an owner when you create a team, just so you know. All right, so I have my team, and as you can see, I have been given this thing called General. What is this? This is a channel. So channels are ways to keep your content organized. Within your channels, you get tabs. So you automatically get a Conversations tab, a Files tab, and a Wiki tab. Conversations, this is where we're going to be talking and chatting back and forth. We can share files here. So, if we have a topic of discussion, we're holding it here. One great thing is that if you have team members added later on, they can look through the threaded discussion and get an idea of what has happened on the team. See decisions made, get a feel for what's been going on. In files, this is where you're sharing your files. This is using SharePoint underneath the surface. So when I created my team, I also automatically a SharePoint site collection was created, and it's using a document library with folders for the different channels to hold the files and share them. All right, so I think the next thing I want to do is I want to schedule a meeting for our team. I want to get everyone going. I want to talk about how I made this beautiful team for us to use. And let's get all of our work done. And I'm going to make everyone meet with me every single week. And do a stand-up meeting. And I'm going to make it recurring. You can see here there's the scheduling assistant similar to in Outlook. Make this weekly. I will start it on Monday. Probably not at 11:30 p.m. though. 2 p.m. sure. So one of the benefits of using Teams to schedule your meetings is that you can actually choose to have your meetings live in a channel. So that helps you keep things organized. It helps you know all the meetings you've had for a channel in your team, and you can record the meetings and use Stream so that you can go back and play the meetings. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to individually invite people, and just so you know, you could also invite guests as long as guest access is enabled in your environment. So Matthew and Patty and Chris and schedule. Okay. Cool. So I scheduled a meeting. I've got that going for me, but we still have a lot of work to do. And how are we going to collaborate? Let me go back to my team. You know, we're going to be doing a lot of work. We are running a nonprofit, so we're going to have people who are doing budgeting. We're going to have people who are doing finance work. We're going to have fundraisers. We're going to need to do a lot of marketing, and people are going to be talking a lot and sharing a lot and collaborating. I don't want that to get all mixed up in one general channel. I want people to be able to quickly see the messages and respond and quickly find their files and get work done. So I'm going to go ahead and create other channels because that's what we're going to use to organize our content. So as you can see here, I clicked on the ellipse, and now I'm going to add a channel. I'm going to call this one Budget and Finance. And just so you know, if I was going to need to do secret finance and budget stuff that I didn't want the rest of my team to know about, I would have to create a whole other team for that. I cannot just take people's access away from a channel. That functionality is said to be coming in the future for Microsoft Teams. But it's just something good to know and to keep in mind. All right. And now I will add a third one, fundraising. All right. Okay, so now I have places where people can hold conversations and hold their files, but I also I need to start assigning out tasks. The first thing we need to do is raise money. So I really want to get some fundraisers going. One application that comes with Office 365 that works very nicely in Teams is Planner. So Planner is a way to track your tasks and assign them. So I'm going to create a new plan, and I'm going to call this fundraising tasks, and click Save. And that's adding a tab here where everyone on the team can go to and see this. And now I can organize tasks for our fundraisers. I'm going to change this kind of default one that says to do, and I'm going to change this to the name of what I want our first fundraiser to be. I want it to be a 5K run. And then we're also going to have an auction dinner. And so those are called buckets. It's just a way to organize your tasks in a way that makes sense. This could be something totally different, or you could just decide you don't want buckets and you're just going to have a big list of tasks. Also, another thing just to keep in mind is if you're part of a bunch of different teams and you're using a bunch of different planners, you do have this here in the left navigation, which will show you all of your tasks. So that's a nice way just for yourself to stay organized and keep track of everything you have going on. All right, let me go back to adding tasks. So my 5K run, we're going to need to plan a route. So I'm going to set a due date. I'm going to say next Friday. And I'm going to assign Chris and add a task for him. And then for the auction dinner, I'm going to say find a location for the dinner. And I'll say this is due at the end of the month, and I will assign Matthew this one. Okay, so I'm looking at it from a board right now. I can also look at it from a calendar to see, when we have things due. And then also there's these nice charts where you can see which tasks are late, which ones are completed, which ones are in progress, which ones aren't started. So you can see here we have 2 that are not started. So it's just a really nice way to stay organized and make sure you're getting done everything that you need to. So now that we've gone through Planner, let me go back. This is in bold, meaning someone must have written a message. Let's see what Matthew has to say. I just found out that we have to have all of our tasks for our nonprofit done by the end of this webinar, even more than we originally had been told. Tee-hee-hee. As you can see, Matthew has used a GIF. One great thing about Teams that you can express emotion, and it's a great way to get to know your teammates. It adds that personal level to things. You can turn those on or off, both at the environment level or at the team level in those team settings we talked about. But we've got a real problem here because everything needs to be done in one day. We really want to rally our troops, get everyone on the same page. One feature that Microsoft Teams has is called the Meet Now. So the Meet Now is what I would compare to that scramble where people are running to your cubes and saying, like, we need to figure this out, we need to make a decision, everybody come to the conference room. Meet Now is another version of that. It gives everyone a chance to join an ad hoc meeting and gives everyone a notification that's part of the team. And it's right here, this little camera. So, all right, so I'm now going to click Meet Now. And hopefully some of our other teammates will join because we need to get our work done and make a plan quickly. Oh, look.
It's me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. So I saw your message, and I think we need to rally everybody together to get things done. I created the team and everything, and I started assigning tasks. But what should we do now?
Well, as usual, I kind of waited to the last minute to get things done here. So I'm thinking the best situation that we can make out of this at this point is if I take over and start knocking out these tasks in by one by one by one by one, and then we can do a recap at the end. How's that sound to you?
Sounds great.
All right, so let me take over this webinar.
All right.
All right, so now I have taken over the meeting from Melissa. I'm giving her a little bit of a break. And of course, we have not a lot of time left and a lot of stuff to do. And in addition to that, I've got even more work I've just been notified that I have to take care of. But I'm still good because I know that Teams is going to help me get through all of this before the webinar is done. So the first thing I noticed is that our team up here, as we click on the name of the team or we click on the ellipsis next to the name of the team for manage team, is that we don't have a picture yet. I'm pretty big on having some kind of unique icon with each of my teams because it seems to give it a bit of a personality or a branding to help people identify it. I found this adorable little picture of the sea lion. It's not quite the same as the seals, but I'm all for saving all of the animals in the sea. So we're going to put this little fellow up in the top of our team for the moment to give it a little bit of personality and help people remember it. I also, since I happen to be a team owner and I can see these team owner settings, I'm going to quickly walk through them with you. We can see all of the current owners and members of this team because it's private and only certain people are allowed in it. Then we could also see if the team's administrator has enabled the ability to search for private teams that other people in my organization might want to join it, and a pending request from them would be here. We have another list of all the channels. We have some settings here regarding specific custom permissions for member level or guests, the ability for people to @mention people or not have them the ability to do so, and I'll get into @mentions in just a bit. Also, some things like whether or not you want them to be using the fun things such as Giphies, memes, and animated GIFs, and what apps our team has. So now back to what I mentioned that I've just found out some more work. So our big boss, Hugh G. Ordeal, or Huge Ordeal as I like to refer to him as, has sent me this email letting me know that, oh my gosh, we've got even more work that we have to do before this webinar is done. Now Hugh has sent this to me in an email, so he's not using Teams yet. So the first thing that's going through my mind is let's put him in our team so that he knows that we can continue to communicate about things in the team. I'm going to make sure that Hugh, though, is only a member because I don't want him to take over the team and give us too much work. So I'll add him there. But the other cool thing about Teams is that each channel has something called a unique email address. Now, this is available in all tenants as long as your admin has enabled this and as long as you're not in a government tenant because that feature is not there yet. But you will see each channel has a unique email by me clicking on the ellipsis, get email address. This email address, unfortunately, is not something you can change. However, it is very handy because now that I know, actually, I want to get the fundraising channel's email. I apologize for that. That this channel has an email address. I can forward this email that was sent to me, and I can click here and I can paste it in. And what I can do is make this email a record inside of our team, and it should just take a second. I've chosen to forward it to the fundraising channel because that seems like the one that's most appropriate. Hopefully, and what do you know? Voila! Now we have our email inside of the team. And a couple of great things about this is people that are not allowed in teams or are not using it, you can forward their emails inside of the team so that you can either create a discussion around it or you can have it as a permanent record inside of the team. And then B, another great reason I put emails inside of my teams is because perhaps people have forgotten to use Teams and they're starting to do that email reply back and forth. And I'm halfway through the email discussion realizing, hey, we should be doing this in Teams. You can forward the email into your team and then continue the discussion there. So what I'm going to quickly do is start a conversation around this email. And as I mentioned before, we were going to go into @mentions. So @mentions are a way to specifically call out someone so that they receive a notification. These notifications could be in either the purple toast notifications you saw pop up in the bottom of the screen, or they could be in the activity feed, or they could be in your email. And these are things that you can control in your own team settings regarding how you want to be notified. But in general, we've got 3 different ways to call someone out. we could either call out the entire channel, so that would be everyone who's following this team by who's marked follow this channel in the channel settings. I could call out the entire team, which would notify everyone in the entire team. But I'd like to note that this is something you really should only be using in extremely important situations, or if you have a small team that you don't mind notifying everyone in, because otherwise this could be considered kind of abusing the ability to do this, and people will get upset with too many notifications very fast, and then they will not be too happy with using Teams anymore. So what I'm going to do is actually just specifically call out the people involved with this. I'm going to call out Chris, who we added to the team a little bit ago. I'm going to call out Patty, and I'm going to call out Melissa, and I'm going to let them know that, hey, just wanted to let you know that the big boss has sent us even more work to do, and I will add tasks in Planner for this. Oops. All right, so I'm just going to send that off. That's going to send a notification to all three people. And then I've got a couple things more that I need to do to add tasks into Planner, and then we can get on our way to completing all these tasks before our webinar is finished. Okay, so now we are going to take this information from the email that Hugh sent us, and we're going to go back into our fundraising channel and into the Planner app that's been added as a tab. Once again, Planner is a separate application that we are just happen to use inside of Teams. You can use it separately though as well if you need to. I am going to create another bucket called Other Fundraising Tasks, just because we're a little short on time and I want to make sure that I get all of these tasks in here. I am going to create a task for build a website, because every nonprofit needs to have a website, of course, and I will assign this to myself because I'm probably going to be the one that will end up having to do most of the work. And so I've got that in there. I've got another one task that we need to do for writing our grant letter, because there's a lot of organizations out there with money to give, but you just have to be able to and persuade the people to give you the money and make sure that they understand you're going to use it for a worthy cause before they will give it to you. And then the last task that we need to do would be regarding street fundraising, because we're going to have some people out there on the streets and actually asking for donations, and I will be in charge of that as well. So we've got 3 more tasks, 5 total now that we have to get done by the end of this webinar, and we still haven't included the social media marketing portion of this. So I really need to get going on what we can do. So I'm going to bang these out one by one. My first thought on here is the grant letter, because I remember in a previous team that we had worked on in the past that Chris, at least I think it was Chris, had written a letter already on asking money from a certain organization for a grant to help our cause. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here once again to our unified / at and search command box, and I am going to type in the letter GRANT, or the word grant. And this is similar to doing an internet search. It's a free-form keyword text search. And I have 3 search verticals that have returned my results. We have any messages with the word grant in them. If there was anyone named Grant in our organization, it would return people. And we also have files. Now, what I wanted to bring up with this is, as you can see, because I've been using Teams for a while and I have quite a few teams, thus quite a few files that have the word grant in the title or in the contents of the file. And I'm not sure which one of these it might be that we need to use. So I'm going to come over here to the filter pane, and I'm going to start to filter these results down by file type, because I do remember that it was a Word document, and I also remember that Chris had something to do with it, so I've got modified by, and after clicking the filter results, wow, gone from like 30 down to 1, and let's just click on this file and see if this was the specific grant letter that I was talking about, and it is. I can tell because there was a past conversation about it. I want to reuse it, and so I'm going to download a copy onto my computer. You can see that it has been successfully downloaded. So then I'm going to come back into our fundraising channel in the Files tab, and I will see that we have some different options here for files. So the Files tab of each channel, and each channel will have a Files and a Conversations tab. You cannot remove these two. And the purpose of this basically is the storage that's behind the scenes of Microsoft Teams for your files, your photos, your emails, your wiki, and other things. As we mentioned before, Microsoft Teams is a product that's actually a bunch of other Microsoft products underneath the scenes with this nice purple skin on top so that it's easy for you to use. One of the products that's behind the scenes of Teams for the file storage is SharePoint. And as you can see, we have a button here that we could open up the Files tab in SharePoint and work with it there if we would like. We also have the option to add an existing SharePoint document library for our file storage in a tab if we have already been using a SharePoint site for a while and we didn't want to start to create another storage repository that was separate from it. However, in this case, that isn't something we need. I also have the choice of working with it directly in SharePoint. And as I mentioned, this file tab experience as of May 2019 is very basic, but coming soon will be a full rich file management tab that will have most of the features that SharePoint would have if you had opened it separately. So that will be something that's coming in the future and you will want to look out for. I could additionally add cloud storage if I am not in a government tenant and my admin has enabled this. I could connect to Google Drive or Dropbox or Box and pull in files from there if I needed to and then add them to this team. But in this case, you saw me download the file. All I need to do is search for it quickly in my download file, re-upload it back into here, and I will have it into the Files tab of our team. So now I've got a copy of our grant letter, and I know I've got a couple things I need to do with this. A, I'm not a grant writing specialist, so I might need some help with that. And B, I need to know how much money that we are going to ask for because nobody is going to just send you a bunch of money for no reason without some good justification. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up to our unified /@ and command and search box at the top of Microsoft Teams, and I am going to search for the I'm going to use the @ command / command for org. And what I'm going to do is type this in, and I'm going to remember that somebody that had to do with contracts has been recently hired at our company, and I see that it's Camille. So I'm going to type in Camille and see if I can find out the 411 on who she is and if she might be somebody who would be able to assist me with writing this letter. Now I see that Camille has some experience because she's in the legal department and she's a grammar specialist and her last name is contract writer. I'm thinking I must have hit the jackpot here for finding the right person that can help me with this. And then separately, I needed to figure out how much we were going to ask for specifically in this grant letter. So whoever we send it to will know the amount we're requesting. I'm going to click on here for adding a tab. Once again, if you we've got a bunch of different options within the tab's experience. If you do not see all of these, once again, you're either in a government tenant or B, your administrator has disabled them because they did not feel that they were something you should have at this time. I am in my own tenant, so I have them all enabled, and I would like to focus at the moment on the Power BI tab. Power BI is a Microsoft application in the Office 365 suite. It's a data visualization tool, and I've already created a interactive map for the seals on how much we need to raise them, how much money we need to raise for each of the seals in the different locations throughout the world. So I'm going to quickly call this tab name seal rescue map, I am going to go into the workspace that I had saved this, which was also called the Seal Rescue Squad. Just find that. Here it is. And then we're going to see that there's already a map here called Seals, and I'm going to pull that up. And what is happening behind the scenes is Microsoft Teams is adding this interactive data visualization map that I've created right inside my team, and it behaves exactly the same it would as though I had opened it up separately in Microsoft Teams. So now I've got a good idea that each of the seals has 3 different amounts that's going to cost to save them. It's either 5,000 US, 7,500 US, or 9,000 US, depending on the location of the seal. So I'm going to go back to my Files tab, and now I am going to open up the letter, and I am going to start a conversation here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that I have found that we need to raise either 5,000 or 7,500 or $9,000 per seal to save them. We should include this in the letter. Now, I'm starting a conversation around this. I'm also going to mention Camille because I need her help. I'm going to say, hi, Camille. Hello. I saw that you specialize in writing contracts. Could you help me with this grant letter, please? I've specifically mentioned Camille, and I have called out her name, and then I'm going to add a little smiley face to hopefully encourage her to help me. And what this has done is sent a notification over to Camille to let her know that she is being requested to ask for some help in this conversation. And let's see if Camille will be happy to help us. I'm guessing she would. I'm just checking here. And what do you know? Camille has sent back a response that's saying she's more than happy to help us. Once again, I get a toast notification because I have enabled this in my settings. I could also edit this document live right inside of Word Online or Teams, or I could open up separately in Microsoft Word and make changes here. But what I'm going to do is, great, I'm just going to send a message back to Camille. Please let me know when you have finished. And this is one of the tasks that we have completed for the day. I'm going to mark a little thumbs up because that's the signification in Microsoft Teams that you either like the person's idea or you have acknowledged their response. And now I have one of the tasks off of our list that we had to take care of. Okay. So I know I'm going fast, but like I said, we're on a short time and we got a lot of stuff to do. So I'm remembering one of the other tasks that had been assigned was we need to figure out where we're going to have our fundraising dinner. All right, so now I am back in the fundraising channel for our team, and I need to figure out a way that we can quickly find the best restaurant to have our fundraising dinner in. So what I'm going to do is remember that we have a third-party app that works with Teams that is called Polly. A quick reminder of all of these options within your tabs here. Remember, if you do not see all of these, your administrator has either disabled them or you are in a government tenant and they are not available. However, this is my tenant, so I have them all on. I'm going to find Polly, which is a quick poll taking application or connector, I guess you could refer to it as. I need to install it in my team, and then it is going to allow me to quickly create polls that I will be able to ask everyone's opinion on so that I can quickly gather the results to come up with an answer. So we can come back down here into the Conversations tab, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another channel conversation,
You'll notice I clicked on the Format tab, which expanded the channel conversation box. This is enabled to become a full rich text editor with highlighting, fonts, bullets, and all sorts of other things. I'm going to call this fundraising dinner location. And then I am going to come down here and call out at Polly. And Polly is going to help me create a survey very quickly. And I'm going to all I need to do is type in the question, where should we hold the fundraising dinner this year? Question mark. I'm going to put in the first option, which is my favorite restaurant in the Washington, D.C. area at this time, Le Diplomat. Another popular one is Founding Farmers. And then, of course, everyone's favorite restaurant in the United States, the Waffle House. So I'm just going to come back here, make sure that at Polly, because you always have to mention the app for it to work. I'm going to come over here and click send, and hopefully it will create a survey for us. And what do you know? It has. We have created a survey instantly inside of our channel conversation so that now everyone can quickly vote on where we should hold the dinner, and that way we will be able to figure that out quickly. So I know which one I'm going to vote for. I'm going to vote for Le Diplomat. Let's quickly see who everybody else is going to vote for as well. See, looks like we've got some results that are starting to come in here. Now we have 3 results from other people on our team. And what do you know? Everybody's voted for Matthew's favorite restaurant. What a coincidence, I know. But it sounds like to me that we are going to have our fundraising dinner at Le Diplomat. So now that we have identified that, I'm going to start a new, or reply to this thread actually. And what I'm going to do is, in this case, I'm going to use another third-party connector, except this is a Microsoft related one because it's pulling from Bing, and it's called Places. I guess I could refer to this as an app. Once again, this has to be enabled on your backend by your admin for you to see it, but it's very cool because we know where we're going to have our dinner at, but we don't have any information about it, or we don't have the actual location of it. So let me just type that into Le Diplomat. What do you know? It's found Le Diplomat in Places. I can come down here and I can quickly add some notes about here that we've got here is here are the directions to Le Diplomat. And I can send this off. Everybody in the team now immediately they have information about the restaurant and where it is located at, and if they need to get directions or check out the website for the restaurant, they can. And now we have axed off another one of the tasks on our list, and we will get ready to move on to the next one. Okay, so now we are starting to get to the end of completing our tasks, but we still have a semi-large task that is out there for our website. So the first thing that I'm going to do is add another channel over here for the website because I feel that that topic is going to have enough data in it and enough people collaborating in it that it actually warrants us creating a new channel. And that's how I usually determine whether or not to create a new channel or not, because sometimes people do create too many channels and then your team can get a bit messy. Although there is the ability to create up to 200 different channels in a team. However, personally, I would not recommend doing this. So I'm going to quickly create a website channel for, or a channel name for the website. I have the choice to automatically favorite it for everyone, but in this case, since it's not going to apply to everyone, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click add, and just a second, here we have a new website. And I know that we have currently started a website, but it's not complete yet. And there's one major thing that's missing on the homepage that I know that was a big feature everybody wanted, and that was a fundraising thermometer so that we could show everybody easily whether or not we have reached our fundraising goals. So there's a couple different things going on with this website concept. First, we created our channel, and what I wanted to introduce you to next was the Azure DevOps app/connector. Now, this is what was formerly known as Visual Studio Online or Visual Studio on premises. There's different connectors for each. And it basically is a software agile project management tool so that all your developers, managers, stakeholders, and everybody else can stay involved during the process of you building software applications or websites. Now, I've already installed this because it took a little bit to configure, but we've got a couple of different options with this. So first of all, as soon as I click on the app down in the bottom of my conversation box, it will pop up and it'll prompt me to say that I have to set this up. And I'm going to pick my organization, and then I'm going to pick my project, and then it's going to immediately connect and pull live data from my Visual Studio project and tenant. As you can see, I have an active task for the website thermometer code, and it pulled that because it's currently in active status. And so I'm going to add that into my conversation here. I'm going to add a subject, and I'm going to say website thermometer code. And what I'm going to do is quickly go out to Google, and I'm going to search for website thermometer code, and I'm going to do what every single website programmer in the world does to find new code. They're going to go out to other people's websites and borrow it. So it's not on the first website. Let me check out this website. And what do you know? This is what I was looking for. Somebody has already written all this code to create a lovely fundraising thermometer that we can just slap on the homepage of our website, and we don't have to do any additional work. So the neat thing that this is connected to Teams as far as the topic is involved is not only have we made a connection to our software project management application, Azure DevOps, we also can use this to communicate with our website programmers by clicking on the code snippet icon in the messaging tray. And what you'll notice is I actually have the ability to come down in here and paste pieces of actual programming code into my channel conversation, and Microsoft Teams will keep it in its original format so that it does not become distorted. And that's what is so cool about this. I'm going to write a quick note. Hey programmers, I found some code for the thermometer. Please add this to the site pronto, and we can finish the project. There we go. I'm just going to send this off, and voila. I now have a connection to Azure DevOps here, and I've added some code, and I've sent this out to our programmers that are following the website channel. Additionally, if I wanted to retain live updates back and forth from Azure DevOps, I could do so by going to the App Store, and I could search for this in more apps, and I could set this up as a connector and install this, and I could actually receive live updates back and forth in my team from any activity that's happening regarding epics, tasks, issues, stories, or other things regarding my project, and they would all show up right in the channel in Microsoft Teams. So that's another option if you'd like to do so. And once again, we have one more channel or one more task on our list that is completed, and we just have a couple more to go. Okay, so we just have two more tasks that we promised to take care of before we start to get near the end of the presentation to wrap up this session. We have the 5K run that we promised that we were going to find some routes for. So I am just going to quickly go back over to my Runkeeper routes. I'm going to come back onto my screen. I'm just going to make this a really simple message for everyone in the fundraising channel, and I'm going to call this 5K run routes, and I am going to once again, here are some routes we could use for our fundraising race. And once again, I'm going to go over here, highlight the word here, push Control K, paste in the routes, and I'm going to pull up this website thing, and I am going to do a CC and actually call out everybody in the fundraising channel on this, because I actually do want to get the attention of everyone who is following the fundraising channel. I'm going to send this off, and that is one more task done. And then our last task that we had agreed to complete is that we are going to do some things to hit the streets and actually go up to people outside and ask them to donate to our cause. So we need to get some weather reports for our street fundraising. I'm going to call this message the street fundraising weather reports, and I'm going to everyone I have checked the weather in these cities, so we should be good to go for our street fundraising. And I am going to send this, and what I'm going to do in the next messages, it's better to keep these separate so that the at command to this app works consistently, but I'm going to do at weather, because this is once again a Microsoft backed app, and what it's going to do is it is immediately going to search the weather in the cities that I choose, and we have 3 different cities we're going to be raising money in, the first being Chicago. So let's just try that again, see if we get a type ahead for Chicago. It looks like the weather is wonderful. That's where I'm from, and so are the people. I love Chicago. I am also going to pull out the weather app for Washington, D.C. And once again, just type in Washington, D. See if that does the type ahead for us. Looks like the weather is also great here. And our last city I'm going to check the weather in is my favorite city on earth to visit, and where the Collab 365 Microjobs people are from, who are hosting this conference, London in the United Kingdom. Say hello to the Queen for me, and let's see what the weather is looking like there. Let's see here. Now you're going to go and pull a little bug on me there. Okay, we got it going this time. Looks like the weather is, as usual, a rather not too hot, not too cold, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to send that off, and the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into our planner tab where we have added all of our tasks, and I am so happy that I'm going to be able to go done, 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 and apparently didn't get those, and voila, we have completed all of the tasks, and now, yay, we can come to the end of the session, and I'm going to bring Melissa back, and we're going to wrap this up.
Okay. Wow, Melissa, we sure have learned a lot about how you can use Microsoft Teams today and all of the amazing things you can accomplish with it. Did you want to review with everybody everything that we've covered so far?
Of course. So just to recap and look at what we've learned and covered today. So we've talked about what Microsoft Teams is and its main components. We've created a team, channels, and tabs. We've scheduled a meeting. We've held a Meet Now meeting. We've had conversations and used funny GIFs. So we've also held conversations around documents and other artifacts. We've used search, at, and the at commands, and we've added connectors. And most importantly is that we've brought people together to work towards a common goal, and we've achieved a lot quickly.
So if you would like to stay in touch with Melissa, of course, you can reach out to her on Twitter via her email or her blog, and she would be more than happy to help you with any type of large Microsoft Teams projects. If you're looking for a micro job, a tutor, just a small company, mid-sized company that needs some help with Microsoft Teams, small ongoing support issues, or any other random Microsoft Teams help that you may need, I am available for hire on the Microsoft Jobs website. As you can see, my profile is SharePoint Matthew, and I know that the Microjobs folks are also running a special today if you buy the package to use as a credit towards hiring somebody from their website. Once again, they are the sponsor of this webinar, so I wanted to make sure that we properly promoted them. Now that I have done so, I wanted to ask Melissa, we have one more item regarding if anyone is still curious about learning things about Microsoft Teams. They've got two options, and I was wondering if you could share with people what those are.
Well, the first one, of course, would be our book, Mastering Microsoft Teams, an End User's Guide on How to Use the Product. So we are on Amazon.com. We're very proud that we've written this book, and we've been giving away copies to people at conferences and things like that. And a lot of people have given us some great reviews. So this is one thing. And then next, I will say that if you're looking to learn even more about Microsoft Teams, you can purchase an all-access pass for the cost of $99.
All right, well, that sounds great. So that people know how to learn more about Microsoft Teams. I know that there's a bunch of other great sessions that Cloud 365 is going to be putting on for the virtual summit. So make sure you stay tuned for all of those. And once again, if you're interested in purchasing the entire conference for an affordable price on a recording, there'll be options to do so within your conference window or emails that you have been sent. Other than that, I think both Melissa and I want to say thank you so much for coming to our session, and we're happy that you attended today. Melissa, do you want to say thanks to everybody?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, everybody. And again, keep in touch with us. If you have any questions, we're happy to give you answers, and we'll be in the live chat as well.
All right, that sounds great. Bye, everybody.